It's easy to opine weapon reloading animations as simple pragmatism. Their transience, yanking out an empty magazine, sliding in its replacement, occupies mere seconds of playtime. Yet, in the briefest of moments is some of the most artful animation in video games. You see, the way in which a gun reloads must communicate an awful lot to the player. Is the weapon powerful yet unwieldy? Is it lightweight and precise? Do its bullets slot into cylinders with precision? Or can a magazine be carelessly palm-slapped in? And another thing, visually portraying a weapon's character is only half the story. Animators must stimulate the most nebulous of concepts as well. Game feel. How does the player feel holding the weapon? Of course, there are additional aspects at play, the weapon's appearance, its fire rate, and sound design for instance. These aspects exist in harmony with weapon reload animations, creating a tactile sensation for the player. If a firearm's reload animation doesn't match the rest of its design elements, then the game feel is lost, and player satisfaction is gone. So without further ado, here are 15 totally awesome reload animations, ranging from rapid in and outs for breakneck gunplay to stately tactical detailed reloads, with unnecessarily inefficient but visually epic flamboyance stuffed in between. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. Wearing its retro future 80s action cliches firmly on its sleeve is Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. Playing as Cyber Commando Sergeant Rex Colt, himself a tongue-in-cheek homage to Terminator-esque half-man, half-machines, gave animators plenty of wiggle room for flashiness. Their excessive exaggeration in Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon's reload animation, movements are wide and freewheeling. Shotguns unnecessarily spin mid-air before cartridges are coin-flipped down the barrel in carefree volition, providing both visual ostentation and information for players of Sergeant Colt's robotic strength and precision. In short, they're totally unrealistic, eye-popping, and attention-grabbers. Borderlands 3. Gearbox Software's animators have done a sterling job portraying playful physicality in Borderlands 3's reload animations. There's a palpable sense of power felt when wielding any of the game's bazillion firearms, but they're short, snappy reload animations with little to no anticipation or post-reload momentum belly the otherwise weighty, meaty weaponry. You'd expect a gun's barrel to momentarily flounder as the gunslinger counteracts the upwards momentum of a rapid reload, but none exists in Borderlands 3. As soon as the ammo is stuffed in there, the gun is instantaneously ready to go. The effect could have been jarring, but Gearbox pulled it off. Not only do the guns feel great to fire, but their reloads are slick. They're perhaps the least intrusive of any reloads on this rundown, meaning players can get on with the shooting action. Battlefield 5. Now, pragmatism was mentioned in this feature's introduction, and if ever there was an example of doggedly logical reloaded animations, then this would be the Battlefield series. Switching ammo is like buttering bread for trained soldiers, and their unfussy, methodical approach with zero unnecessary movements is replicated to a T in Battlefield 5. But what it's lacking in theatrics is made up in nuance. Especially prevalent detail includes the waver of a gripping thumb whilst the opposite hand loads rounds into the receiver of a rifle, bringing palpable grounded realism to Battlefield 5 reload animations. Shadow Warrior 2. Flying Wild Hog's offbeat first-person shooter features a bounty of weirdly imaginative, ornately decorated firearms. Their visual grandeur is matched by Brash Warrior Low Wing's zingy reload style. Major Fletcher spit out used cartridges as Low brazenly spins the guns around his index fingers before deftly placing replacements down the barrel. Or Gauss Rifle Judgment of Enra's super satisfying 45-degree thrust, which springs expelled cartridges from its belly before Low simultaneously hoists the barrel upwards while silkily sliding in a replacement. Movements are so exaggerated they appear comical. However, the game's animators have exercised careful control over the animation's easing in and out, grounding these outlandish reloads with a much-needed sense of believability. Bulletstorm. Most noticeable in Bulletstorm is the outrageous recoil on its guns. Make no mistake, this is a specific design choice intended to convey immense sensation of power to the player. Imagine it was real life for a second. Shooting the industrial-scale guns in Bulletstorm would take an immense amount of strength which clearly player character Grayson Hunt has in abundance. Owing to his past as a rugged Black Ops assassin, his discernible grunt is depicted superbly in the unfussy way he reloads a weapon. He stuffs bulky cannonballs into the bouncer like oranges into a juicer. Quad-barrel shotgun, the Bone Duster kicks like a mule, but folds like licorice come time for Grayson to reload its shells. Destiny 2. A weapon's sound design is just as integral as the visual stimuli offered in a supremely animated reload. Destiny 2, for the record, features stunning sound design, a seamless blend of industrial clang and synthetic texture. It's a topic that'd need a whole other rundown. For the animations themselves, well, they're on the faster side, requiring streamlined and meticulous actions despite their otherworldly designs. Like the weapons in Borderlands 3, Destiny 2 reload animations offer barely any setup, but there is a glimmer of post-reload animation momentum as your Guardian arcs the barrel back to the center. Of course, there's room for intricate and unique details throughout the plethora of Destiny 2's arsenal. The Sturm hand cannon's bulky hammer movement is at its most extreme when forcefully cocked back, or the moment before the colony grenade launcher magnetized cartridges seizes into the receiver. Its projectile then auto-loading into the chamber before the barrel wakefully slots back into place. Magical. Perfect Dark. Playing like a sci-fi imbued GoldenEye 007 is Perfect Dark, itself a game which rightfully won plaudits for its immersive, non-linear environments and artificial intelligence back in 2000. What might have passed the game's advocates by at the time is incredibly imaginative gun design, chief among which being the alien firearms that Agent Joanna Dark accumulates during her secretive missions. The Mayan Phoenix pistol, for example, requires energy orbs to function, with reloading requiring these gooey balls absorbed into the gun's gelatinous turquoise chamber. The human-made Cyclone submachine gun, by contrast, reloads like an office paper shredder, scanning a flat magazine for bullets. It even sounds like an inkjet printer. Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk 2077's boundaryless ambition was its initial undoing. While CD Projekt Red toil away at filling the void between promise and reality, the game's glorious weapon reload animations, of which there are at least 6 detailed variations for each, continue to appease players who have taken the plunge into Night City. These aren't subtle variations either. Take the M221 Saratoga submachine gun. When the magazine is empty, it might be flicked outwards, to the side, or slammed to the ground, with the magazine catch chopped or punched back into place. Visually pleasing and always interesting, Cyberpunk 2077's hand movement and gun mechanism frequently overlap too. For instance, the M179 Achilles servo motors continue to whir as the gun's barrel splits into a pentagon shape after the replacement clip is loaded. Planetside 2. For the uninitiated, Planetside 2 is a gargantuan multiplayer shooter with thousands of players working together across multi-continental maps in all-out planetary war. The bulk of the game's reload animations aren't the short, snappy type we see in Destiny 2 or Borderlands 3. No, they're frequently drawn out, a hair's width lengthier than the reload animations we typically see. Without prior thought, this may seem counterintuitive, but the deliberate design choice to momentarily lengthen reloading encourages tactical play rather than breakneck pace. It gives us a chance to savor the animations too, for whilst they're by and large a few frames lengthier than other games, they're no less rhythmic. Observe the SASR rifle. The gun hovers a moment too long before magazine changes, but this only serves to add crunchy impact when the player smashes the replacement in. Turbo Overkill. More FPS retrofuturism, albeit in VHS-soaked aesthetic with classic gameplay. In truth, Turbo Overkill borrows its reloading philosophy from 90s a little too liberally in that reloading is largely absent, save for the sawn-off shotgun, lovingly christened Boomer, perhaps in a not-so-subtle nod to the game's target market. Yes, Turbo Overkill's Boomer shooter demands half-metal, half-human murder machine Johnny Turbo stuff cartridges into empty chambers with little regard for precision. The game is all about white-knuckle pacing, so weapons like dual-wielding magnums, waster shotguns, and Uzis fire hastily with little excess motion or recoil. The Uzis though, their unexaggerated animations gives us opportunity to admire their dancing dual barrels as a rotary servo motor feeds bullets into the chamber. Red Dead Redemption 2. Seasoned gunslinger of the American frontier routinely reloaded bullets one by one into the cylinders of their revolvers. It's a finicky process, but it becomes second nature if you were constantly a wanted outlaw, which Red Dead Redemption 2's Arthur Morgan often is. So it stands to reason Arthur's reload animations are lightning quick, his fingers as swift as a magician's sleight of hand. It'd be a tad overdone if Rockstar Animations hadn't managed to balance as well as they did though. There's very little excess movement in the reloading actions. Less excess movement promotes a more realistic, grounded reloading animation. Killing Floor 2. Killing Floor 2's raft of weaponry encompasses modern militaristic assault rifles, vintage guns, brutal makeshift weaponry, and draft, motoric, mad scientist creations. They all have one thing in common though. The movement arcs of their reload actions are all pretty beautiful. The guns pleasingly swirl across the screen, with even the utilitarian weapons such as the Heckler & Koch UMP displaying a smooth, satisfactory nudge forward before being lifted upwards to swap magazines. On the whole, the speed at which the gun reloads lacks realism, but owing to their trajectory, the shape of their momentum, their placement on screen, these clever animations at Tripwire Interactive avoid breaking immersion. Escape from Tarkov. The animation team who have worked on the ultra-tactical FPS Escape from Tarkov clearly prioritized realism. Their gun reloads are patient, surgical, even offering players a feeling as weighty and tactile as any reload animation on this rundown. Of course, the success in Escape from Tarkov's reload animations rests on the weathered appearance of the game's weaponry too. There's an immense attention to detail in the brushed metallic surfaces, with battle scars glinting in the sun's reflection. The disciplined reload animations highlight these visual details for sure, but there's tons of nuance in their movement too. For instance, one of the PPSH-41 submachine gun's animations sees a magazine require a little brute force to jiggle out of the catch. Each of the game's Kalashnikov rifles features an ultra-satisfying click as the magazine pops back into its receiver. The plume of hot smoking barrels artfully follows the muzzle's arc. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. The fact Kojima Productions bothered to animate Snake's reload animations as intricately as they did in Metal Gear Solid 5, a game that be predominantly played in third person rather than first, demonstrates the painstaking detail the team dedicated to the game. Of course, Snake, aka Big Boss, knows his way around a gun, and as such the animations are tight, with zero wasted movement. What's striking though is the total lack of friction in the arsenal Snake's reloading. Magazines slide into the receivers with ease, cartridges slot into barrels as if they're double the size. Everything just works as if brand new, which perhaps is intended to reflect Snake's lifetime experience. Homefront the Revolution. Surely the swiftest reloads on the entire rundown, Homefront the Revolution guns are reloaded in the blink of an eye. The cool thing about Homefront the Revolution though, is the extensive customization players can make to their weaponry, with each add-on including its own unique animation. Take the scopes, which will roughly slide onto the barrel of a Mossberg 590 shotgun, or the quirky USA keyring that'll provide some visual secondary movement to the flamethrower's reload. While Homefront the Revolution's gameplay isn't the most appreciated, the guns in this game certainly look incredible. The game's guerrilla warfare setting provides a more ad hoc modular approach to weapon design, whilst the animation's purposeful movement with crucial rigidity checks and wiggles whilst idle add a sense of grounded realism. Hey, did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.